Hi everyone. One of the most important aspects of sales is delivering value to our customers. In fact, there's countless books and online videos that discuss how important strong value propositions are and how to position the features and benefits of products and services for optimal value. But what is value? Value is not something a vendor can quantify without feedback from the customer. It's impossible to have value without the customer. However, I can't count how many times I've seen marketing material outlining the value of a specific feature or benefit of a product from the viewpoint of the company that created it. Who are we to decide if a product we sell has value? Often, we get hung up on all the work we put into developing a product or service and surmise that it must be valuable because it can do so many things. This is especially true in the technology sector, where innovative products can complete complex calculations and give insights almost instantaneously. What we often fail to realize is, while the product may have many outstanding attributes, the value it delivers a buyer's dependent on the perception of the customer, not us. So what is value, and how can we optimize our sales team to always deliver value to our customers while simultaneously differentiating our solutions from those of our competitors? To have value, you first need to have a known and well-defined problem that the customer wants or needs to solve. If there's no well-defined problem, there is no value that can be calculated. A solution without a problem has no value. Before we move forward, it's important that we understand why a client will buy something. To do that, we need to understand their problems and what a problem actually is. What does it mean to define a client's problems? Many clients, or buyers, tell us the things they want to accomplish are increase production or decrease costs, and we take those to be the problems we must solve. These are actually symptoms of the actual problems the client is facing. They're not the problems themselves. For example, if a client says they want to increase production, the seller needs to figure out why production is not at the level the client wants it at. Everyone wants to increase production, of course, but why is the current production not at the optimal level? What are the issues that are impeding optimal production? Are they process related or technology related, or could they be human resource related? We need to be focused on asking questions to define the problem, such as what are the current costs? What do you want the costs to be? What do you think is leading to the excess costs? How are you currently handling these excess costs, and how is that working out for the company? Or what are the impacts of these excess costs on the organization now and into the future? In value selling, it's important we spend most of our time with the client in the early stages of the sales process, defining their problems and the impact of these problems so that we can positively impact the value equation in the buying process. Value selling is a proven sales method that focuses 100% on how the client buys products and services. Value selling is especially effective and necessary when selling complex enterprise solutions that touch many areas of an organization. The most important aspects of value selling are defining the specific problems a client's experiencing, the cost of those problems to the client's operation, the client's criteria for making a buying decision, and the client's willingness and ability to act to solve the problems with your solution. To understand the dynamics of how people make buying decisions, you can summarize the components in a general function like this. The buyer's decision always equals the relationship that you have with that buyer, plus the value of the solution you're offering, times the customer's key beliefs and the activity that they put forth in the sales process. Now, all of these variables are customer side of the sales process. As we said, relationships are one of the most important components of the buyer's process. Relationships are based on trust and shared experiences and can be summarized as shared experiences plus trust. Shared experiences are increased the more you interact with a client. We use reach and frequency as terms to gauge our level of shared experiences. Shared experiences equal reach and frequency. But what is reach? Reach is how far into an organization we're scaling our relationships. Each relationship we build within an organization influences the other relationships we have. For example, if we build a relationship with a senior level executive, such as the CEO or COO, that relationship will influence the trust our other contacts within the organization have for us and our ability to deliver value. What's frequency? Frequency is how often we interact with each contact, or how many new experiences we have with them over time. Meeting with our contacts consistently will ensure we understand their needs as they change and will keep us and our company front of minds when new customer needs arise. Trust can be summarized as credibility plus reliability plus intimacy over self-orientation. But what does that really mean? I know we're using a lot of functions here, and we're just using these functions to outline the main variables within the value selling equation. So what is credibility? Credibility and reliability are two sides of the same coin. They denote the level of confidence a client has in you delivering what you say you will deliver in the time you've promised. Intimacy denotes the closeness a client feels to you. Often intimacy involves shared experiences outside of work, including family and friendship, community, or shared hobbies. So the more you get to know your client and what they like, the more intimacy you can create. Now you notice that self-orientation is the divisor in this equation. And that's simply because the more self-orientated or the more self-absorbed or self-focused you are when you're engaging with your client, the less trust you're going to build over time. So just remember, it's always about the client first. So what does all this mean? It means to get your client to a point in which they decide to buy something, you must have already built a solid relationship with them that's based on trust and consistent personal interactions. This will ensure you understand your client's evolving needs and you're the first person they call when a new need arises. As we saw early on, the value of the solution weighs heavy on the client's ability to make a buying decision. In the value equation, there's three main components. Number one, the size or cost of the problem being solved. Number two, the cost of actually solving the problem. And number three, the amount of benefit received from solving the problem. And there's one other factor that we need to take into consideration, and that is the client's decision criteria. These are basically the success metrics that they need to see to make a buying decision. So taking all of that into consideration, the value equation can be summarized as value equals the benefit of the solution minus the cost of the solution over the cost of the problem times your ability to fulfill the client's decision criteria. Value in this case also means the return on investment of solving the problem. So basically, calculating the value of a solution also means creating the business case. And this is the business case that we hope the client sees enough value to make a buying decision. Value can only be perceived, though, by the client. So it's not something we say, we see value in this. It's always has to be the client that sees value. Therefore, we have to focus on understanding the client's problems from their perspective, not ours. Looking back to the buying process, key beliefs are a major influencer that can positively or negatively impact the final buying outcome. So what are key beliefs? So key beliefs are beliefs that your customer has that could positively or negatively impact the deal. And if you don't know what these key beliefs are, there's no way for you to proactively influence those beliefs in your favor. Belief in your ability to deliver is one key belief. And this essentially is the belief that the customer has that you personally are going to be able to deliver the solution and the value that you've promised. Belief in your company Many times clients that you're working with have already had an experience with your company. It could be a positive or a negative experience, but depending on that, it will absolutely impact the buying decision. Belief in their loyalty to competitors. And what I mean by this is the loyalty that your client has potentially to a competitor. And that loyalty could be because of a very positive outcome that they had with that competitor, or it could be a loyalty program. Belief in their ability to make a decision. Many clients, depending on their role, they may feel like they don't have the power to make a decision, or sometimes people are very risk averse and they don't want to make a decision for fear that that could hurt them in their role. Belief in the viability of another solution. If a client has seen lots of positive outcomes or heard lots of positive word of mouth about a competitor's solution, that could influence how they look at your solution. Belief in using technology to solving problems. And this is one where, especially in the mining space, miners have very specific processes that they've used for many years, oftentimes including technology. And if they have a specific belief in those outcomes and it's something that they've been using in a positive way for many years, this could influence the deal that you're putting on the table. Often key beliefs are not evident. You must utilize your relationship to flush out these key beliefs so you can address and influence them to gain a positive sales outcome. And key beliefs are often learned later in the sales process. This isn't something you discuss in your first or second meeting with the client, but over time, you're going to learn a lot about their past experiences, either with the competitors or with yourself, meaning your company, and you can influence the justification for the business case once you learn these key beliefs. The last variable in the buying decision process is activity. And when we say activity, we're talking about activity that the customer does within your sales process. So the activity that they put forth will absolutely impact the outcome. For example, imagine if a buyer decides to drive their car to the store to review a new television. In this case, they're many times more likely to make the purchase than if they don't make the effort to go to the store. And in technical solution sales, it's very much the same. If the customer's not active in the sales process, usually they're not very much likely to make a buying decision later on down the line. So we need to make sure our clients are compelled to conduct the specific activities within our sales process to ensure a higher probability of a buying decision. It's very much a red flag if your client decides they don't have enough time to give us information necessary to build a strong business case, or if the client says, they don't have enough time to see you and go through the scope of work. That's something to worry about, and you probably want to find out what's keeping them from moving the sales process along.